This life is about how to get what you want without burning out. My name is Bolutiwi, and I am what I call a recovering perfectionist. One of the main reasons A-type, high-achieving, driven women burn out is because we are operating under the illusion that we need to be perfect. Now, at some point, I thought perfectionism was a good idea. I used to pride myself by saying it gets to be perfect, and I would bend myself into a pretzel to make sure it was perfect. The fact is this. First of all, there's no such thing as perfection. Second of all, sometimes instead of simply making progress, we get stuck in procrastination because we are waiting for it to be perfect. And when we do not make progress, then we cannot see the results, and this causes frustration. Frustration is a huge fuel to burnout. Another thing that you want to look at is this. Perfectionism is not the same thing as excellence. Of course, it is important to have a healthy drive to excellence, to do things in a way that is elegant, creates results, to a high level of, high standards. However, perfectionism is underpinned by shame. It's underpinned by the idea that if I do perfect, say perfect, look perfect, then I will avoid shame. And so, if we do not have a deep relationship with shame, then we probably are not driven by perfectionism. Perfectionism is not what is required to achieve big goals. What is required is a healthy drive for excellence. And in excellence, there is progress. When we talk about perfectionism, if something is already perfect, how can you improve it? It's not possible. And nothing can be perfect because what's good for you may not be good for somebody else. Other people may have things to actually include. I remember a time when I used to be driven by one thought: whatever I deliver, my manager will have nothing to say. I was proud of myself. Looking back, I realize now that I was simply avoiding criticism because I connected criticism and shame. So if we are driven by the need to be perfect, then the chances of us burning out increases astronomically. Now, you may be asking yourself, am I a perfectionist? And I'm going to tell you how to know if you are. One way of realizing this is, are you comfortable with vulnerability? If you're uncomfortable with being open and just showing up as you are without needing to show that perfect persona, then you're most likely a perfectionist. If you find yourself in situations where you're overanalyzing what you get to say instead of simply saying it as it is and then revising if required, you probably are a perfectionist. If you find yourself riddled by the idea of failing, as opposed to excited by the idea of putting it out there, receiving feedback, and creating value and making a difference, then you probably are a perfectionist. Perfectionists are highly uncomfortable with vulnerability. I really want that to land. And when you're uncomfortable with vulnerability, there's a tendency that you are not comfortable asking for help. Is there a side of you that believes that if you ask for help, it means that you're not good enough, you're not capable enough, you're not intelligent enough? Is there even a part of you that believes that in order to be loved, to be recognized, to be seen as capable, you need to do every single thing by yourself? Is there a part of you that relates asking for help to weakness? Is there a part of you that will do anything to avoid rejection? All of these things are niggling little signposts that may tell you. So if you truly want to get what you want, whatever it is, that huge, big goal, and it could be a goal with love, it could be a goal with money, it could be a goal with setting up a company, it could be a goal with your health, it is absolutely important to release the need to be perfect. Because if you need it to be perfect, it has to look a certain way by a certain time, all of that, then you may actually not even start because you think, oh, that's not possible. And when you do start and things don't exactly look as you planned, then what you find is that you start criticizing yourself. You start telling yourself, I'm not good enough. This is the reason why things never work. So here is where you need to step into focusing on the gain, the progress you've made, versus the gap, what you haven't achieved yet. When we release our need for perfectionism, we're actually releasing shame. Shame, which is very different from guilt. Shame is I am wrong. Guilt is I may have done something wrong or may not have done something the right way. I get to revise, I get to change, but it doesn't change who I am as a person. I still feel I am enough. I still know that I am lovable. But when we feel shame, because we deeply believe we're not enough, we deeply believe we are wrong, then we are not even able to bring the situation to light and to share with others because we believe that that's a barrier to them loving us. Deep down, perfectionists believe that in order to be loved, we need to be perfect. And when you think that, you'll create a persona that you think other people want, or persona that you think is perfect. And in the end, you become extremely lonely. Loneliness is also a factor that contributes to burnout. And when I say lonely, you may be surrounded by lots of people, but nobody really knows you because you've not let anybody in. So the first point is releasing the need to be perfect. Then we step into relaxing and relaxing into, okay, I can be me. I can be me. I don't have to have everything perfect. And so I understand that relaxation is not a reward for doing things perfectly. It's actually a birthright, and it's a space from which I get to create. And on some days when I get to rest, I get to rest. I also get to relax when it comes to thinking what other people may be thinking about me. Well, guess what? You can relax because people are not thinking about you. You're not that important. They're thinking about themselves. So relaxation is super important. Find moments to relax. Find moments to play a puzzle, to do some walking in the woods. I went for a walk in the woods today and it was so amazing. I had what I call a forest bath, hyper relaxing, to sing, to dance, to draw, to meet your friends. Take a break from the productive activity because in that moment of recreation and relaxation, you would be surprised the amount of insight and creativity that you generate, which will accelerate your progress when you get back to the productive activity, by the way. The next thing that you do in order to get what you want, to manifest and not go into burnout, is to reconnect with your true self. To really ask yourself, what do I really want? Because burnout is not necessarily only a fact of how much you're doing. It's also, is your heart in it? Are you aligned with what you're doing? Or does it is it so heavy because it seems like your head is going one way and your heart is going another? So reconnect with your true self so that there's full alignment. And now it's like a wave, the ocean and the waves carrying that along, as opposed to some sort of opposing forces. And when we reconnect with ourselves, when we're actually walking to the beat of our own hearts, now we step into re-envisioning. We're no longer envisioning from a space of, what do I get to do to avoid criticism? We're no longer envisioning from a space of, what do other people want and expect of me? We're no longer envisioning from a space of, maybe I should play it small so that I do not fall, I do not fail. We're re-envisioning from a space of, I will follow my heart's prompting. I trust that life is happening for me. I know that I am already worthy, so I do not need to hustle for worthiness. And the kind of vision that you have from that space is very different from the vision you have of hustling for worthiness, trying to prove yourself, and avoiding criticism. When we re-envision, that's great. But there's one other thing that causes burnout, and which is this idea that I will be happy when. In order to overcome this limiting belief of delaying happiness until things have happened as you want perfectly, you get to step into the understanding that you can be a joy generator. You can choose to be joyful now. And when you are on the frequency of joy, then you attract and magnetize things to you so much quicker and so much easier. So rejoicing is a practice that is so important if you truly want to achieve your big goals without burning out, even when things don't go as planned. What in that experience can you find joy in? Things may seem like a complete train wreck and disaster. If you, however, are operating from the assumption that life is happening for you, then you know that there's a lesson in here. There's a blessing maybe somewhere. This is a great opportunity to learn. This is going to make you stronger. This is going to make you wiser. You also understand that resistance is not going to shorten your learning period. And so the quicker you step into recognition and acceptance, the quicker that experience can go to a stage where it's no longer necessary, so you no longer need it in your life. And when we step into that, then we understand how to receive. Receiving is not some passive act. It's a highly potent state of being. One tip about receiving is when you are in gratitude, you are already receiving. So instead of feeling that you need to go and hustle and fight for every single thing, you step into the understanding that you've taken the action, you've set the intention, you're in an amazing state, which is highly vibrational, and you're open. And you're open to things, even if they may not look as you intended, because you know that there is no way that you can imagine it even better than the universe can. That's super important. So we get, as high-achieving women, to build our receiving muscle. Otherwise, we feel that we need to take action and force in order to get anything. And underneath that is some idea that, ooh, am I worthy of receiving this so easily? Or do I only feel that I deserve it if I've worked really hard? So when you let go of the limiting belief that in order to have anything, you need to work very hard, then you also reduce the chances of burnout. So how do you get what you want without burning out? One, release this idea that you need to be perfect. Two, step into relaxation as your birthright, not a reward. Three, reconnect with your true self so you create alignment. Four, re-envision from a space of love and enthusiasm of your vision, as opposed to fear of criticism and vulnerability and failure. And five, become a joy magnet, rejoice. And last of all, open up so that you can receive the opportunities, the results, everything around you, because it's already there. I would love to hear your comments. Which of these 6 things, from releasing to receiving, do you find most challenging? Which of those are the ones that you also, I've got that, I'm good at that already. We get to celebrate ourselves. If we do not celebrate ourselves, then how do we expect the world to celebrate us? Celebrating yourself is one of the best ways to start living a life you truly celebrate. To celebrate yourself, it's important to let go of perfectionism. Love and light, everyone. I can't wait to hear your comments.